Hi everyone, it's Racz. Welcome back to the channel. I'm at a Plan B spot today. I went out to my home lake, pond, whatever you want to call it. It was kind of a buzzkill. Looks like they're doing some kind of construction around there. So I don't know if they're going to build homes around it, make it into a park, or if they're working by the railroad tracks that are adjacent to it. But if they make it all public, there my secret location goes. So we'll see what happens. Just like the old man in the sea, right? That's what happens to us. We just get picked apart, right? As life goes on. But I'm not going to be so melodramatic because I got a lot of really cool stuff to show you today about stitching. And I'm going to log some conditions, and I'll actually use this little park bench here to showcase my setup to my advantage. So those that are newer to the channel or brand new, I realize a lot of folks are really just starting out fishing, and I'm going to go over stuff a little bit more concisely. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I've gotten over 1,000 views. It's taken 5 months. Thank you everyone that subscribed and viewed. So we're doing classic stitching today, and like I said, I'm just going to show you that setup. What we've got, we've just got a kind of a folding chair right here, and my stitching rod, 8.5 foot steelhead rod, light, nothing too heavy. And we've got some assorted split shot. We've got pliers, we've got night crawlers in here, and believe it or not, I've got hooks in these 2 small bags, and that's a backup rod I took along, and that's my Canon camera in case I get a fish. This stitching deal is so unbelievably fundamental. Normally this time of year, no matter where I'd be at, I'd be digging out, even a year ago, I'd be digging out spinnerbaits, crankbaits, plastics. Man, what's perfect for the conditions? So we're going to log the conditions today. As you can see, we're partly sunny, but we're just coming over a northeast wind. So that means that fish probably aren't going to chase a lure, and that night crawler presentation is going to be our best option. So I'll do some stitching, work this out, and hopefully I can catch a big bass. It's been a while. So if you're newer to bass fishing, northeast winds are never our friends, because these kind of conditions follow warm active periods where bass have kind of fed. And this stitching technique, as I've reiterated in the past, is good for these kinds of fish, and we want to try to target a bigger one if we can. There we go. Number one thing I am going to do is I'm going to sharpen this hook. So I happen to sharpen this hook because it's a true turn. It's a true turn number 8, and though it's a good hook, I definitely prefer to give this a little edge. I don't know, they just seem like they could be a little bit duller than they were in the past. It's hard to tell. They never were the world's sharpest. But that cam action is great for live bait. You can catch a 20-inch bass on these, absolutely no problem. My pops was the one that taught me that. So when you sharpen a hook, you just take your file and just go about 12 times each way at an angle to the left. And then this is a grooved hook file. And it's all these little attentions to detail, though they may seem awfully mundane. Really, and then just straight down about 5 or 6 times, and you want that to be sharp enough to leave a white mark in your thumbnail. That's a sharp hook. Done. Now we're going to fix our split shot, which we tie this hook on beforehand, and then we wait to do our split shot. Current is kind of blowing at us. I'm in a shaded spot. I'm going to fish in a semi-shaded sunny spot. If you're starting out bass fishing, it just dawned on me that I actually have people who are just like first year, second year bass fishing. These fish are going to need some shade in these kind of conditions. in order to find an edge. They're just not going to be out in the middle of the sunny areas. So, like I had learned in the past, I'd go out there and just bam, I'd be slamming that water with every kind of lure imaginable, and we're just going to want to go about 18 inches with this shot. I'd just be slamming the water, bam, 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 with all different kinds of lures, spinnerbaits, crankbaits, topwaters, jigs, and it's a total waste of time when conditions are wrong for that, because horizontal approaches when fish are active just doesn't really work out. You got to get something kind of in front of their face, and there's nothing better. And what I did with these night crawlers is you soak them in ice water, not a lot of water, a little bit of ice, about 4 trays full of ice. You soak these bad boys overnight, 8 hours. Wake up in the morning, before you start your coffee, take them out, and that's how you do it. And you repackage them in another container. Take the worms and dab them out in newspaper. I should do a video on that. Yeah, you soak them, then you get the moisture off of them, then you dab them. By doing that, getting rid of the moisture, and then it's a really simple deal. You put them in another container, so you got them in a fresh container, and that does wonders. So this is the rig, light action, 18 inches. It's the simplest rig that I can think of. It really amazes me how productive it is. So we're gonna get our crawlers out. And I kind of got this whole little area to myself, and that's kind of like one of these later season days. You don't see a lot of people out with the chilly winds and so forth. You can kind of do your thing and not have a lot of people out around you, except the crazy guy with a YouTube channel like me. But I mean, these crawlers are, they're pretty big to start with, but man, check that out after you soak them in ice water, man. They are phenomenal. And that's and the reason why I go through that trouble. I definitely try to get them the night before, soak them, is because big bass like beefy crawlers. I can barely hold on to these. And then we're going to hook them through the tip. And these are fat and juicy. Usually I buy 2 dozen. I even bought an extra dozen. Can't even fish my spot. I'll get over it. Usually doesn't take long. A lot of my fishing ingenuities have been by pure accident. So we'll see what happens here today. And I got this nice little section to myself. And like I said, stitching, if you're learning how to do it, this is like super perfect kind of conditions, because it's kind of hard to learn fishing when you've got kids around you and stuff like that. So we got our crawler, we got our shot, and we're going to check our drag. There is a reason why I use this Daiwa SS. It has a saltwater drag. If you subscribe to the channel or watch this, you've seen me talk about this reel an awful lot, and that's what we want. We want a nice drag. Nice. That is very nice. Saltwater approved. So I know Ed Perchman, he likes these kind of reels. Well, not these. He likes the Daiwas, but he gets the saltwater gearing thing. So what we're going to do is, and then we got 6-pound copolymer. We're going to let some line out to cast this. You need slack line to cast this deal. And we're using an open lobbing casting motion. So we're going to go back with this, like this, and then flick it forward. Use the momentum of the bait, not necessarily the weight of it. So we're going to cast it out. And I'm not doing a far cast because I want to get this line twist out of there. So still casts out pretty good. That line twist out of there. So basically, just to recap where we're at, we're stitching and I'm fishing trying to hit a shaded area. Trying to catch a largemouth. I got to get the hang of this rod. That wind's kind of at me. It's been a while since I casted a rig like this. It's a little different. I think I casted my crawler right off of there too. It broke apart. So though this may not seem like the most exciting type of fishing, it is phenomenally consistent, productive. I got my first 20-inch bass doing it, well, my second one out where I was earlier. So I can't fish there, so let's try it here. And it's going to take a little bit of practice. Casting lighter stuff in split shot rigs, it's not super accurate, but it's you kind of work with it. It's kind of like fly casting. You pick it up and you make a few false casts, and you go from there, and you try to be consistent with it. I thought I had a pickup right there. Probably just some slop. So I know there's a lot of audio noise from these fountains. Kind of apologize for that. Doesn't make for the best audio sound. But like I said, this is a rather impromptu session. And I figured, well, it's a nice day, it's a sunny day, and it'd be good to showcase this technique. Now, casting into these areas as the main founder of this technique called his name is Bill Murphy. The main technique is you don't have to get right out. Oh, bluegill just sucked it right up. And that's the kind of thing, you can feel that strike in your line, and for a lot of finesse applications for those starting out, feeling those bites is just tricky. So we've got active bluegills in that sun in that area. That's kind of a plus. So I probably did have a bluegill tap the first time. But you're just maintaining that tension with one finger at a time. I know there are probably people who watch this channel, there are folks who think this thing is just not for me. But on a day like today, if you have a stressful work week, you want to go out, you want to fish, you want to be productive, it's a really good way to go about it. Another bluegill tap. So I'm happy that there's bluegill tapping this. So if you're just starting off fishing and you're getting bluegill taps, you probably don't want to cast, if you're getting small bluegill taps, you probably don't want to cast into those exact same areas. What you want to do is you want to cast around those areas. And there's no science on that sinker. Could be 12 inches if you prefer that. If you want 8 more, it's hard to say. There we go. You can see I'm trying to hit more towards that edge there, and I'm able to do that with this. I think there's some active bluegills around there. So I'm going to cast. If you've got, this is a really good finer point right here. If you've got active bluegills right there, if you've got active gills, the best thing to do is to try to go either a little deeper, or a little shallower, or somewhere around there. But I'm going to just go a little deeper, thinking that these bass are going to be maybe your bigger bass traditionally, going to be a little deeper, and kind of hang out, work that cast out. And I've caught fish stitching, or just years ago, not so much stitching, because I know better rods, but years ago when I used to do split shot rigs where I would run it without my finger on the line, I would catch so many good fish with casts that didn't seem all that great. But that one's kind of a little bit too much in the sun. so I am going to work it. I can actually feel that sinker tick, tick, tick on that bottom. I don't know if that camera can pick it up. It's just moving along. Whoa, whoa, it locked me. Son of a buck. What the heck? God dang it, I got a fish on here and this frickin' thing got snarled. Well, I lost something. May have just been a big bluegill, I don't know. Darn. I never had that happen. That line got foul tangled around the bail. Never happened. I'm gonna pretend it's a big fish. May not have been. So that pretty much sums everything up with the whole stitching deal. I was thinking about that little body of water, and I know I've caught bass that were around pretty close to, or they're about 8 pounds, caught channel cats 8 to 10, buffalo suckers 8 to 10. Fishing a night crawler on a cool day like that, it could have been anything. So I'm still kind of trying to get over it a little bit, but most importantly, this channel is about you, the viewers, and hopefully I'm giving you some interesting content that's kind of a little fun. I did have fun yesterday, but I want to get on some fall bass, and it's still waiting for the weather to cool off. It's still like in the 80s, but we'll get there. And thank you, viewers and subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I always like to see a new subscriber, and if you leave me some communication, I'll get back to you. I try to get back to everyone, either verbally or in writing, about the channel. I care about it a lot, and it's been real fun. Best of luck to you for whatever it is you fish for in 2017, and thank you for viewing. Have a wonderful rest of the fall for your fishing, and I'll be back sooner than later, hopefully. Take care.